You like being alone. And the word you use for that is wrong, not a little wrong. Researchers went looking for the link between introversion and enjoying your own company, fully expecting to find it. And across two studies with 453 people, it wasn't there. So before anything else, you are not antisocial and you are not broken in some quiet way you've never said out loud. Something real is happening when you close the door. It just isn't the thing you've been calling it, and the actual mechanism is stranger and far more useful than a personality label. Here's the question that matters. Why does an hour alone leave you steadier when the same hour leaves someone else climbing the walls? Start with what solitude actually does to a person, because almost everyone guesses this wrong. A team ran a simple setup. Put a student in a room. No phone, no book, no screen, nothing to do. 15 minutes. Measure their mood going in, measure it coming out. The expected result is obvious. Alone time is restful, so people should come out calmer and happier. That is not what happened. People came out lower on anxiety, lower on anger, lower on stress, and also lower on excitement, lower on enthusiasm, lower on joy. Every high-intensity feeling dropped. The good ones came down with the bad ones. Sit with that because it rewrites the whole thing. Solitude is not a rest state. It is a volume knob, and it only turns one direction. Whatever was loud in you gets quieter. It does not care whether the loud thing was pleasant. And this is where the label starts costing you something. If you think of yourself as an introvert who recharges alone, you expect to come out of an evening by yourself feeling restored, lit up, full. Then you come out feeling flat instead, and you decide something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You got exactly what solitude gives. You just expected the wrong gift. The knob is not a battery, it is a dimmer. Now, the detail that separates people who thrive alone from people who dread it. In the same line of work, the researchers added a condition. Same empty room, same 15 minutes, one change. This time, people directed their own thinking. They chose what to turn over in their head instead of letting the room decide. The dimmer got selective. The negative arousal still came down. The positive did not. Read that again because it is the whole mechanism. Left to itself, solitude flattens everything. Steered, it flattens only what you wanted flattened. The difference between coming out of a quiet evening hollow and coming out of it clear is not how long you were alone or how introverted you are. It is whether anyone was driving. Most people have never once driven. They go quiet, hand the wheel to whatever thought shows up, and the loudest thought in an empty room is almost never the kind one. That is how a person ends up believing they are bad at being alone, when what they are actually bad at is steering. Which brings us to the second half, and the part that explains why the same behavior heals one person and hurts another. Across several studies tracking people in their real lives, researchers separated solitude into two kinds that look identical from the outside. Solitude you chose. Solitude that happened to you. Chosen. More positive emotion, less stress, self-esteem goes up over time. Imposed, you weren't invited, you were left out, you were too anxious to go. That's the version that corrodes. Same empty apartment, same Friday night, opposite outcome, and nothing about the room tells you which one you're in. The variable isn't the solitude, it's whether it was yours. So now, put the pieces back together and look at what the introvert story was actually hiding. Those two studies I opened with, the ones with 453 people, they weren't only testing introversion, they tested something else at the same time, and that one landed. It's called dispositional autonomy, the degree to which your choices come from you rather than from pressure, obligation, or the fear of what happens if you don't. Autonomy predicted who gets something real out of being alone. Introversion predicted nothing. That is a much bigger claim than it sounds like. It means the people who are good at solitude aren't the shy ones or the quiet ones. They're the ones whose no is genuinely theirs. They didn't skip the dinner because crowds are frightening. They skipped it because they looked at the evening and decided. And the same person, on a night they stayed home, out of dread instead of decision, gets the corrosive version, same apartment, same silence, different result. Which means the thing you've been treating as your temperament is actually a skill and skills move. Here's what that changes practically. If you go quiet after a hard day and come back muted rather than restored, you didn't fail at resting. You let the dimmer run unattended, and it did what it always does. It pulled everything down, including the parts of you that you needed back. Steering doesn't mean forcing yourself to think positively. It means deciding what the hour is for before the hour starts. Something to work through, something to sit with, something to make. Any destination at all outranks drifting, and when you're deciding whether to stay home, the honest question isn't whether you're tired or whether you're an introvert. It's whether you're moving toward the quiet or away from the people. That single distinction predicts how you'll feel at 11 o'clock better than any personality test you've ever taken. Same door, same closed door, same silent room, same hours. What you get out of it depends entirely on who decided you'd be in there. You've probably spent years thinking there was something faintly wrong with how much you like your own company and quietly working around it. There isn't. You just had the wrong name for it, and the wrong name kept you from getting good at the thing you were already doing. If that landed, if you recognized yourself somewhere in there, subscribe. There are people who have been apologizing for this about themselves for a very long time, and they still don't know it has a mechanism.